Hey guys, welcome back to another Coding Flamingo video. So over the past few years, NoSQL databases have been growing in popularity. Maybe it's because of the growth of the cloud and it's easier to manage them, or maybe because they're easy to scale and easy to geo-replicate and have multiple databases. Or maybe because people just couldn't figure out if it was SQL or SQL and they were like, all right, let's just create something else. And today we're going to look at Azure Cosmos DB, which is Azure's version. Azure Cosmos DB offers different types of APIs. You can do SQL that has very similar SQL queries, but it returns JSON files. There's MongoDB, Gremlin, Cassandra, and Table. Today we're going to look at Cassandra, but it's almost the same for all the other ones. You would just change how you set it up. One of the cool things about Azure Cosmos DB is one of the most reliable services in Azure. They have, if you set it up with a geo redundancy, you can have up to 5 nines of availability SLA. And the cool part is that they also guarantee response time. So you can have it that it's all within less than 10 milliseconds of read speed, and you can have it that it's serviceless, so it automatically auto scales up and down based on your throughput, and it's super easy to manage, it's easy to replicate and failover. And so now that we have kind of looked at TLDR of why to use Cosmos DB, now let's jump into how to do it. So first thing you have to do is go to the Azure portal and go to Cosmos DB. And then in here, it offers you all the different APIs, and you can see the differences and you can learn more. Today, we're going to use Cassandra. And then in here, you just enter your information. So you enter your resource group and the name of the account you want to name it. So let's do Flamingo. And then in here, you can either do provision throughput, that basically you set how many RUs, which are request units per second, you want to pay for. And it's going to be kind of like if you had a server that size. Or you can do it serverless, that basically you set a range. So you say like anything from 4,000 RUs to 40 RUs, and it will auto scale up and down, and they'll just charge you for what you use. If you want to use the free credits that they give you, you have to use provision. So we're going to use the free credits that they give us. And then there's global distribution. And here we're going to leave all that disabled because we don't want to pay for that stuff. The backup policy, you can change that to whatever you need it to be. Encryption, you can either let them manage all the keys, or you can manage them in your key vault. And we're going to let them do all the work. Then after that, we're going to click review and create, and we're going to create it. All right, and fast forward to the resource being completed. Now we can go to the resource, and in here it gives you kind of like a quick start and for how you're going to do it. Actually, in the next video, we're going to do it with .NET, so make sure to subscribe. And I'll actually walk you through how to connect to it with .NET and how to actually do it securely instead of just putting the password there just for everybody to steal. But today we're just going to use Data Explorer to just create our first keyspace and our first table. So basically how this works is each keyspace, it's actually just like the equivalent of a SQL database, and each table is equivalent of a SQL table. If you're coming from SQL, that's where I'm coming from. So that's how I think about it. But if not, you can think about it however you want. And then you're going to set the name of the key space. So in here, you can set it to whatever, like test key space or whatever you want to call it. And then here's how you set the throughput. So do you want it to auto scale? And you put the max, and then it'll tell you how much will automatically scale from 400 to 4,000 depending on how much you're using. Or you can do the manual, which comes included with the free stuff. So we're going to do the minimum manual, which is 400. We're going to click OK. Once a key space is created, we're going to create a new table. And in here, we're going to use an existing key space, the one that we already created. And we're going to name the table weather. This is for our next video, so make sure to subscribe to check it out. And then you have to put what you wanted. So I have weather date, that is basically the date, the year, that is an int. We use that for the partition keys. So basically how Cassandra works is you have partition keys that are kind of like subsets of data, and you want it to be kind of like pretty equal. So it kind of goes and looks at it. Think of it as kind of like folders. So you can divide the work among workers to each looking at one folder. And then we have temperature and summary and temp int. So usually year will be pretty equivalent of like how many forecasts you have per year. So in here, we're gonna set, once you set up the columns, then you set the primary key. The first one is the partition key, and then any others that you put in the second is kind of like, they're called cluster keys, and they're basically used to like be able to kind of like index the data better. So usually the full date, we're going to use that for like what's greater than or less than and stuff like that. So that's how you create the table. You click OK. Now we have our key space with our first table. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.